I am on my honeymoon, just soaking it in.
Well, hello. It's me, not on my honeymoon. I have had quite the past few days, and as you saw in my last video, I mentioned that I would be on my honeymoon this week, and clearly I'm not. We're gonna try and laugh about it so that we don't cry about it. So I thought we could do a little get ready with me with some new makeup that I have, or just things that I've been testing out, and talk about it because I need to get it out. And I don't have a therapy appointment for another couple weeks. Also, I just did my hair with the Dyson Airwrap, so she's looking quite bouncy and full. Was thinking about doing a tutorial on how I use the Dyson Airwrap because I do get questions on that a lot. And I do have a few TikToks and Reels on that, but if you want to see it like more in depth here on YouTube, let me know in the comments because I would be happy to do so. If you're new here, I'm sorry that this is the first video that you are catching of me, but thank you so much for stopping by. We talk about more than just my personal life struggles on this channel. We also talk about skincare, makeup, mental health, vlogging, a little bit of fashion, and I would love to have you subscribe. Okay, so I'm actually going to start with this Maybelline Perfector 4-in-1. Maybelline sent me these and I was shook when I got this package. I think that this is a fuller coverage version of the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. It, to me, has a little bit more coverage, just a slight bit. And so I've been using this like as a foundation basically to add a little bit of glow without adding too much coverage, and then I just use a brush to blend it in. As a lot of you know, my husband and I got married in 2020, but before that we were engaged in May of 2019. I have like a story time on our engagement and our wedding that I can leave up above, which is not really the point of this story, but I wanted to add that in because we have been kind of dealing with trials and tribulations in our marriage when it comes to planning celebrations for that. None of them have really worked out for us. And a lot of that has been due to COVID, but other things have come up as well. So first off, we got engaged in 2019 and we set our wedding for May 2020. Had to cancel that twice. We had to move it, which again, I'm not going to spend too much time on that, but we had to push our honeymoon multiple times because of that. And we finally settled on December 2021. We decided to take off work before Christmas and we were really excited to get away while it's been chilly out. It's not something that we've ever done before. We had never been to St Barts and we had been staying at this really beautiful hotel called Hotel St Christopher. I'll pop in a picture so you guys can see how freaking gorgeous this place was / is. And we had to be really careful about hurricane season and all of that, so we were very intentional about choosing December. Next, I'm going in with the YSL Touche Eclat. I am testing this right now because I am trying to dupe it against my e.l.f. concealer, and I gotta say they are very, very similar. And this is in the shade 2.5. So we were very excited after moving our honeymoon and moving our wedding multiple times. At this point, we've been married for over a year and a half and we just had our wedding celebration in October. So we are ready to get going on a honeymoon at this point. Like, we have been saving and planning for this damn trip for 2 years. Not to mention that this has already happened to us 2 or 3 times. So right after we got married in May of 2020, we took a really short trip to a lake house in town. And while we were there, I'm not even kidding you, hurricane force winds came into Nashville, which, like, you don't believe me, I'll put in a freaking article. Like, I was shocked by it too. Hurricane force winds came into Nashville and knocked out the power where we were staying, and the owners had problems. Like, it was not good. Then, a few months later, us and another couple that also had a COVID canceled wedding went to Florida for our like secondary honeymoon together just to like relax, and 2 days into being there, Hurricane Sandy came. So we literally had to run from a hurricane while we were on our honeymoon. So that was fun. We were barely there a couple days before we had to leave. So at that point, We had planned the honeymoon for December, and that was gonna be our next vacation almost a year later. If you remember, we did go to Miami for a week as a little vacation, so we kind of are counting that as our honeymoon, to be honest, because we never had another one, and I'm gonna tell you why. I am using the M Cosmetics So Soft bronzer in the shade Summer. It's really the only cream makeup stick that I actually apply right to my face, because that is truly how soft it is, that I don't have to worry about it picking up what's underneath because it is So Soft. So our flight was set for Saturday morning. Now, to get to St Barts, it's not like you can just fly there. It's kind of like, you know, one thing has to work for the other thing to work to get there. So our flight layout was from Nashville to Atlanta, Atlanta to St. Martin, taking a ferry from St. Martin to St. Barts. So there were a lot of different things kind of riding on one another to go well. And we had maybe an hour 15 layover in between Nashville and Atlanta. So we really needed everything to kind of go well. And I don't think we were even considering things not going well, to be honest. We were kind of not really updated on all of the strikes and all of the issues with labor that have been happening in the airports, which I'll get to. But we weren't really concerned about it. I have been testing out a few things from Victoria Beckham's makeup line, and her blushes, her blush sticks are stunning. They're so pretty. This one's in the shade Playground, and the packaging is so weighty and beautiful. I am so excited to try more, but I am gonna apply this one to the brush first. So we were all packed up, ready to go, knowing that there was a chance on the radar that there was gonna be like thunderstorms and some possible weather on Friday night. Like, we saw that there was going to be a storm or two because the weather was like 70 degrees in the middle of December. And whenever that happens, there's definitely something brewing. And being from Nashville during 2020, where we had an EF3 come through literally our neighborhood, we just, you know, we're always cautious about that. We have a weather radio. We just really try to keep up with what's going on. So we knew that that might happen, but it was set for Friday night. And so we thought nothing would really come of it when it comes to the honeymoon. We were wrong. I don't really know what I'm gonna do with this, but I'm gonna try something. This is the Essence Pure Nude Sunlighter. You guys know that I love the highlighter in Be My Highlight, but they sent the shade in Be My Sunlight. It very much reminds me of like an Hourglass powder. It's kind of like a bronzy shade. And so I kind of think I'm just gonna do a finishing like little dab of this over my cheeks with like a nice fluffier brush. I don't know. We're all along for the ride today. Okay. That's pretty. That adds like a really nice glow. I'm just trying to figure out like what to do with this, because it's kind of an in-between shade for me between like my skin tone and a bronzer. So maybe it's just kind of an all-over powder type of thing. I may have used a little too much. So we went to bed Friday night knowing that we might wake up in the middle of the night to a storm. I was hoping, like, as every minute passed, that the storm would start so that it wouldn't creep into the morning hours of Saturday, because like that was my fear. That kind of added a bit of a shimmer to my cheeks, like maybe not the best choice. So I'm gonna skip highlighter for now and come back to see if I even want to do that. Something I've been doing recently is taking like a brown liner. For example, this one's from a brand called Cali Ray, which is going to be at Sephora soon, and smudging it along my lash line and then just buffing that out as kind of like my eye look for the day. So I'm thinking I'm gonna do that. So we go to bed and we are awoken at 3 a.m. Oh, let me rewind. We were supposed to leave at 4 a.m. Sorry, I left that out. We're supposed to leave for the airport at 4 a.m. We were literally flight number 15 leaving Nashville that morning. So like very early flight, I think like 6 a.m. But we had to check bags. I'm literally just gonna buff this out with a pencil brush and kind of lift it towards my eyebrow here. It can be super messy because it just kind of adds, see, like a little undefined brown moment, and it kind of just adds a little bit of drama to your look without doing that much work. I just think it's pretty. So anyways, our alarm was set to go off at 4 for us to leave at 4:30. We were awoken at 3 a.m. by tornado sirens, which is never a good thing, especially in Nashville. See how it adds just like the tiniest bit of lift to your eyes without doing that much? It just gives you a little bit more dimension without having like any eyeshadow on. I will say that I picked up this Natasha Denona palette for the Honeymoon. It's the face palette that has a blush, a highlighter, and then 5 eyeshadows. So I'm gonna try one of these shimmers in the inner corner. Perhaps the one that's labeled inner corner. I'm sorry this video is so all over the place, but I'm truly still recovering from the fact that this happened. So we are awake at 3 a.m. We go down to the basement, turn on the weather, and they are confirming tornadoes in Nashville and West Nashville, saying to go to your spot. So we go into our gym, which is like the inside of our basement with no windows. It's like pretty much the safest place we could think of in the house, and turn it on. Luckily, the tornado misses our neighborhood and our area. It goes a little bit north, and as you guys know, it goes way into Kentucky and just rips through the state of Kentucky. At that point, we didn't really know how bad it was. I think most people didn't know how bad it was because it was still happening. It was literally in the middle of the night, 3 a.m. And at that point, we're like, oh my God, are we gonna miss our honeymoon? Like, there's a tornado. Like, we just don't know what the weather was like at the airport. So we get into Twitter and we go and look at Twitter.com. Sorry, you guys. I'm just all over the place right now. And we actually tweeted at the airport, and the airport said all flights are going as they usually would, so don't worry about that. So we're like, oh my gosh, we might actually have a chance to still go. Like, this is crazy because literally we just dodged a tornado, but okay, let's get in the car and go. So luckily we had already packed everything up, obviously, but we were tired as hell. We drove to the airport, and when we got to the entrance of the airport, everything was shut down. Like, there was no way for us to drive through, and we found out later that it was because there were so many trees down around the airport that they couldn't let people drive in to get to the terminals. You had to go like this crazy back way, which should have been an indication to us that everything was not fine regardless of what they said on Twitter.com. So we go and park from the back side of the airport, and when we get inside, it's a madhouse. Like, it's an absolute madhouse. There are tons of people, and the lines to check your bags are insanely long, which, like, usually we don't check bags, we just do our carry-ons, but because we were going for a week and it was our honeymoon, I had a pretty hefty bag, I'm not gonna lie. It was about 50 pounds. So we're waiting in line, and we are kind of running almost right up to when our flight is going to start boarding. And we get up to the front, and for some reason my ticket isn't printing, and the woman doesn't know why. Come to find out, it's because her printer wasn't working, and that took about 10 minutes. But besides that, all of the checked bags behind them were starting to pile up, like as tall as they were. Like, the conveyor belt was not running to grab the bags and take them to their terminals. It was like there were just hundreds of bags behind the women and the men checking people in. And we thought that was really strange. We were like, this seems odd. Usually that's running, they put the bag on the conveyor belt, you go get on your plane. But they kept checking people in, so we didn't think anything of it. Checked the bag. We were literally those people who ran to our terminal. Like, you see that whenever you go on vacation, people literally running, and you're like, oh my God, they're running to their gate, how embarrassing. Yeah, that was us. I'm using the Nude Sticks XL brow gel. So we literally show up to our gate, and they are boarding our section. So we get on the plane, and we're like, oh my God, I can't believe it. We made it on the plane. After everything that we went through today, and the fact that we woke up at 3 a.m. and we were running and hustling to get to the airport, and there were trees down and there was a tornado, like, we made it. We are on the plane, and now all we have to do is sleep and wake up, get to Atlanta. Once we get to Atlanta, we have like an hour, get on our flight to St. Martin, and then we're golden. So everybody's on the plane, and our flight attendant comes on the overhead and says, hey, just wanted to let you guys know that we just found out that the conveyor belts in the entire airport are broken because the airport was struck by lightning during the storm. And so the bags aren't on the plane yet. It should only take 15 minutes. Once they get on, then we'll take off. And Reed and I look at each other and we're like, okay, 15 minutes, we can deal with 15 minutes, but like if we get into the 30-minute, 45-minute territory, like we are gonna be missing our connection. So we were a little bit concerned, but she said 15 minutes, and I should have known at that point, like obviously it's not 15 minutes when we saw the amount of bags that were like behind the people checking people in. I decided to go to sleep because I'm freaking tired. I wake up and it had been probably 30 minutes, and Reed looks at me and is like, I don't know what to do. We're about to miss our flight, like our connecting flight. And we see a line of people at the front of the plane, and they're talking to the flight attendant, and she gets on the loudspeaker and is like, I realize that there are people that want to get off the plane, so we're gonna let you off. And if you want to get off the plane, just come up to the front, tell us your name, and we'll try and grab your checked bag, like, and tell them not to load it onto the plane. So Reed and I are looking at each other and we're like, oh my God, what do we do? Do we get off this plane? Do we stay and hope that our connecting flight is also delayed because of some reason? Like it could go wrong either way, but I decided to make the choice for us to get off because I thought if they're letting people off the plane, it means that the bags are not even close to being loaded onto the plane yet. Otherwise, they would have kept us on the plane. You know, like I knew that they were kind of doing the it's 20 more minutes, it's 20 more minutes game, and that if it was another 20 minutes, we would be stuck in Atlanta overnight, which is worse because then we would have to rent a car and drive back or pay for somewhere to stay there. Like I just knew that it was going to get messier and messier. So we go up to the front of the plane, and I don't think at that point we fully realized that we were about to basically miss our honeymoon. I am going in with the Victoria Beckham mascara. This is the only other thing I got from her makeup line. This is a tubing mascara though, so you know I had to try it out, and I love it. It's really, really good. The wand is super duper small, and it kind of just like attaches onto every single lash because it's so teeny. We get off the plane and there's a woman kind of waiting at the terminal, and she's like, okay, so go run downstairs to this Delta counter lady and tell her basically the situation and your name so she can pull the bag for you. So we go run down there, we tell this lady, and she's like, okay, I'm gonna like try and figure this out. There's about, I don't know, 10, 15 other people with us trying to do the same thing. We're all getting off this plane. Which, by the way, I've never seen flight attendants or captains or anybody let people off a plane. Like, that was completely new to me. I was like, okay, this must be bad because usually once the doors are closed, it's like illegal to let them off. So I knew that it was something fishy. So we are basically waiting in this luggage, the baggage claim area for her to go grab our bags. And while we're down there, there are like 50 bags at the baggage claim just like flopped out everywhere from what people are calling dead flights, which I don't know what that means. I don't know if they were bags from flights that took off without them. I don't know if it was a plane that was stuck on the runway and hadn't let people off yet, but it was the most eerie thing we'd ever seen. Like, it was just a bunch of bags completely unattended in the baggage claim on the conveyor belt as if people had just like disappeared while they were going to pick up their bag. It was not good. So we sat down and we started talking about what we were gonna do, and we pretty quickly realized that we were going to have to miss the honeymoon completely. And a lot of people were like, I don't understand, why didn't you guys just like book the next flight? It's not that simple. First of all, this flight pattern, like from Nashville to Atlanta to St. Martin to get a ferry to St. Bart, like it took us forever to figure that out in the first place, and so to rebook it would be very hard considering our hotel is the one who actually booked our ferry for us. Plus, I didn't have my luggage at the time, which we'll get into in a second. I'm sorry, this is gonna be a really long video. Without going into too much detail of like why it wouldn't work out, it just wasn't gonna work out. We weren't gonna be able to do everything the next day or within enough days that it would make sense for us to take off like that amount of time. It just wasn't gonna work. So then for a split second we thought, should we, you know, plan a trip right now to like Key West? Because we're thinking like, we just took a week off of work. We've had this planned for 2 years and we just missed it. And we came to the conclusion that we would rather wait and plan a trip that was really intentional than go somewhere for like 4 days that we just randomly threw together. And I'm making this sound like very nonchalant, but we were really upset, like tears upset. We were crying and we were just sitting there in the airport waiting for my bag for over an hour, thinking about what are we gonna do? What do we say? Like, are we gonna book another flight? We took off all this time from work. Do we want to continue taking off? Like, it was horrible. But it turned out that we did the right thing because the flight did not take off for 2 hours after its intended takeoff time, and our flight from Atlanta to St. Martin was on time, meaning we would have completely missed it and had been stuck in Atlanta. So it was actually a good thing that we got off when we did, but it still sucked. So after like an hour of waiting for my bag, we went back and checked in and we're like, what's going on? And she said, well, it turns out your bag went to Atlanta on another flight because they thought that we were gonna make it somehow. So my bag made it to Atlanta that day without me, which also was another reason why we couldn't rebook, because my bag was not with me. It took its own flight without me. I'm gonna test out one of these new lip oils from Item Beauty. I really don't love like the idea of people coming out with makeup brands when they don't really care about makeup or anything surrounding it, but I've heard that these are pretty good, and it's a little trio of 3 different shades that I was actually interested in, and I think I'm gonna try the shade Heart Poppin'. They smell pretty good too. They smell kind of like the Peach Laneige mask. She's cute. She's cute. I love like a sheer lip moment, and it does feel really nice. So anyways, we came back home and took a 4-hour nap. Eventually woke up to the airport calling us, telling us that my bag was back in Nashville. Went and got that in the late afternoon, came home, slept some more, and woke up pretty freaking upset. Took us a while to really sink in that we were fully missing our honeymoon and that there was no point in trying to go within the same week. I think we ended up getting a pretty good refund from Delta, or at least I think my husband is the one who took care of all of the honeymoon stuff, which love him and feel bad for him. We got a massage together yesterday and we tried to make the most of our time together, but he ended up going back to work today, and it's as if none of it ever happened. And that is the story of me and my husband missing our honeymoon. Now, I just want to say, us missing our honeymoon sucked. It sucked really bad. It still sucks. I'm supposed to be there right now. But I do want to mention that it's clearly nothing compared to the horrible, horrible devastation in Kentucky, Arkansas, Tennessee, all of my surrounding states. I feel so strongly about it because my city has gone through a tornado, not even close to this magnitude. This tornado was horrible. There are full towns in Kentucky that are completely decimated. I'm sure you've seen that on the news. And so I'm by no means trying to compare the two things, but it did obviously coincide with that situation. We went through the storm, it struck the frickin' airport, and we missed our honeymoon. The fact that it happened on the same night is just serendipitous. It sucks that it happened on the same night, but still, like I said, it is not even close to as sad as I felt about these towns and these people in Kentucky especially. A lot of these towns are towns that I drive through to get home, to get to Indianapolis to visit my mom, like Bowling Green, Elizabethtown. We go through there all the time, and I'm devastated by it. I truly am. So I'm gonna leave a link down below to donate to either the Kentucky Red Cross, or I'm going to find basically the link that has the most reputable sources for donation that go directly to Kentucky tornado relief. I am devastated by it, and I just wanted to mention that as a side item because I know it seems like I'm very much woe is me, but I have the capacity to be sad about both things, and I just want to make sure you know that. And as I mentioned in my last video, I have a lot of stuff going on in my life right now that I'm really excited to share with you guys, including the fact that my husband and I are moving. We are staying in Nashville, but we're moving like 10 minutes away from where we live now, and I'm so excited to show you the inside of the house, do moving vlogs, talk about how we're gonna decorate, and just everything that comes along with this next stage in my life. I love you guys. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this, and you know, any positivity that you have for me right now, drop it in the comments because I am feeling a little down. The next video that you should be seeing on my channel is the best makeup of 2021, best skincare, best hair care, and I can't wait to see you guys then. I hope you have an amazing holiday season, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!